Welcome back. There were big headlines back in July when a portrait of Russian President Vladimir Putin appeared in the state capitol in the exact spot being saved for a portrait of U.S. President Donald Trump. Why wasn't the president's picture there to begin with? Well, the $10,000 needed to pay for the portrait of the U.S. president had never been raised. Well, now it's settled. Just a few days ago, Colorado Senate President Kevin Grantham presented a check for $9,000 to Colorado Citizens for Culture, a group that had already raised $1,000 toward the cost of that portrait. Grantham raised the $9,000 in 32 hours through a GoFundMe campaign. Now, dogs may be man's best friend, but for veterans suffering from PTSD or physical changes, a recent study from Purdue finds that service dogs can help veterans, decreasing anxiety, preventing sleep disturbances, even helping them cut down on alcohol usage. And now a local nonprofit is supporting changes to Colorado statutes to ensure that Colorado's veterans are not being shortchanged or overlooked. And Frank Griggs is the founder of Veterans Puppy for Life. It's a program which trains service dogs for U.S. Armed Forces veterans. So thank you for being here.
Thank you for having me.
Before we get to your proposal, 14% of veterans have PTSD?
Pretty much. The number in Colorado is roughly around, I think around 87,000 have PTSD. Not all of those are in treatment though. So it's a pretty high and significant number.
So let's talk about your proposal, because you feel like changes need to be made here in Colorado dealing with service dogs. And we should point out that Bo is here with you as well.
Yes, my Bo is my service dog. We do. There is no national standard for service dogs. There is no requirement to certify a dog, and you actually cannot because of the Americans with Disabilities Act. And because of that, states cannot require certification of a dog either. So there is no standard to set as to what a dog should do or shouldn't do. Now, we're not proposing to change the methodology of the training, but what we're proposing is that organizations that do train service dogs have to have certain standards that they need to set in the training program.
Because right now anybody can say they train service dogs, correct?
Exactly, exactly. So what we're proposing is that if they are an organization that trains service dogs, and this could actually even apply to those organizations that register dogs online, we're proposing that there are 5 core training areas that they have to have in order to be certified by the state. The first is a socialization requirement. Service dogs have to be highly socialized. So like Bo, him
He's
sitting
very well
here,
behaved.
if he were causing all kinds of issues, that would not look well.
Sure.
And it doesn't fit well in the public environment. So they have to be highly socialized. So they would be required to have a socialization program as early as possible in the life of the puppy or the dog. They have to go through basic canine training. All service dog organizations today do provide basic canine training, but what we're requiring is that, again, these standards have to be part of their program. The third one would be an evaluation of the basic canine training. It has to be equal to a nationally recognized standard or one that is equal to or better than that standard. And as I said, there's really no standard for service dogs, and and
it's up to each individual state, right?
Exactly. And they have to be, they really need to be set to a higher standard than just a pet. And the standard right now that's used is primarily used for pets. So the standard has to be set higher, and the bar needs to be set higher for service dogs. The fourth part is that they have to provide a ADA task-specific training program, because ADA says that a dog has to be trained in one task to help mitigate or help the individual with disability. So they have to have some ADA task training involved in there. And lastly, what we think that needs to be done is there needs to be a public access test. The public access test is necessary from our standpoint because we want to make sure that the dog and the handler can perform as a team in public and not cause issues like the ones that we've seen with emotional support dogs and that kind of thing.
Yeah, because what is it that set you off, that got you started on this path? Is it the different types of animals? Or?
Well, no, it's pretty much what causes the problem is that the service dogs the fake service dogs, because they can just say it's a service dog or an emotional support dog or some emotional support animal. It causes those with disabilities problems, because then they get greater pressure when they go into places. Our veterans in training and our veterans, say that they're challenged more now.
People asking them questions,
Exactly.
you mean, like, is that really a service
a
dog?
business. And so there needs to be some kind of standard set so that businesses would know this is what we need to look for.
And so with less than 30 seconds here to go, how do you get this forward? How do you move this in Colorado then?
We're trying to find legislators that will be willing to take this on and add it as part of their Colorado revised statutes.
So would any animal apply, or do you want to limit it to
We
dogs?
would limit this to service dogs, because under ADA, a service animal can only be a dog or a miniature horse.
Wow. But we've seen all kinds of animals out there, haven't we? Well, very interesting, Frank Griggs. Thank you so much. It's an interesting topic, and we'll see if any legislator steps up to this.
I would appreciate it. Thank you.
Thank you. We'll be right back.